Hey, let's talk about Destiny. Let's talk about Destiny, baby. Because they were in the courts today. Oh, actually, no, we have to still be accurate. People who are associated with Destiny, that was associated with, oh, shut up, Chewie. I'm just being accurate at the moment. I have been, and this is, okay, here's the funniest thing. You know the funniest thing? These fuckers applied for name suppression. And you know what they did? Do you know where they didn't get it? They didn't get it because they themselves published their names and faces on social media and what they were doing. So they outed themselves on social media, and then they said, "Oh, we want name suppression." And the judge went, "Yeah, that's a no, little buddies. That's a no."
They openly filmed themselves storming a children's event in a library during Auckland's Pride Festival. But most of those charged over the incident will keep their names secret for now. A total of 7 people facing a range of charges made their first appearance in a West Auckland court today. It follows the Destiny Church-linked protest in Te Atatu last month. Jacob Johnson was in court.
There was a large police presence outside and inside the Waitakere District Court as 4 men and 3 women were called for their first appearances here. Most of them are facing common assault charges. However, the oldest defendant, a 67-year-old man, is facing an additional indecent assault charge. None of them entered pleas and they've all been remanded on bail. We can't yet show the faces of those arrested or name them. They were called into the courtroom one by one, and although 6 of them were declined name suppression on grounds that they subjected themselves to public scrutiny by taking part in the protest.
So obviously they've got like a stay, want a better word, a stay of execution for 24 hours or something. But as he said, they subjected themselves. They went, hey, internet, this is me and this is what I'm doing. And now they're going, can you please keep us a secret? And I think what they're going to say in a second is also, or maybe it's on a different story. They said one of the reasons they want name suppression is because of the threats and stuff they've been getting online. Now, never ever going to tolerate threats online. Not a good thing. But I do think it's ironic that the people who try to expose the rainbow community, the LGBT community, are now worried about getting threats on themselves. Because when they expose the LGBT community, all that happens to that community is a torrent of abuse and threats online. So what they are normally the catalyst for, they are now complaining that they are the receivers of. I don't think it's okay to put threats online. I do see the irony in their complaint, though, if nothing else.
Scrutiny by taking part in the protest, and because it's been widely shared online, that decision's been appealed by their lawyer, who said they'd all received threats to their safety. The youngest defendant, a 19-year-old woman, was granted.
Like every rainbow story drag queen that you've ever put out there. Ever. Like every bar, Chewie, here in Dunedin, every woof bar that groups like yours tend to want to put out there. Yes, it shouldn't be happening, but you are doing this, causing other people to receive them. This is karma, is what this is.
I also don't believe them.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that's possible as well. All right, this has got about 45 seconds.
Old woman was granted suppression given her age. They were arrested last week following a Destiny Church-linked protest on February 15th when around 50 people entered the Te Atatu Library, which had been hosting a drag storytime event, and refused to leave. Footage from inside the centre shows pushing, punching and shoving. So far, 8 victims have filed complaints with police.
Obviously blurred because there is still, well, there's not name suppression, but there's a challenge to it, so TVNZ's not going to show the faces to be able to identify them, even though all of this footage is still on the TVNZ website.
A large group of supporters joined the 7 defendants, though they weren't allowed inside the courtroom. There was also a small group of Rainbow community supporters standing outside during the hearing. While on bail, the 7 defendants can't go near the Te Atatu Library and they aren't allowed to contact the complainants. They'll reappear in court early next month to enter pleas. Jacob Johnson, One News.
Well, there you go. Byron, you're our guest and you've written things about Destiny and those kinds of groups. So any thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat ironic, I guess, that they are trying to keep their identities secret now, when, as you said, they've been sharing themselves doing this. And they've really been trying to bring about a real backlash against these performers who are performing at libraries, and you look on social media, and that's still happening now, even as all this goes through. Well, not necessarily from the same individuals, but from people in that sphere.
Chewie?
I think Destiny or Destiny affiliated groups, their reaction to this speaks volumes to me. If they were successful, then there would be no talk of affiliated groups. It'd be Destiny, and Brian would be singing it from the rooftops. And now they've entered the fuck around and find out zone, and it's all getting a bit real. Oh, it's not Destiny. It's not Destiny. All of them go to Destiny Church, but it's not Destiny. It's just an affiliated group, because they can't hide that. So now that they can't hide that, they're trying to hide the people, because I bet their photos are on Destiny website, and I bet there's a smiling picture of them with Brian arm in arm. And I wonder if what's going to come out of this is if there's anything that they can hang on Brian for incitement to violence, because he's documented it as telling these people to go and do this thing. So he's not one of them, but is he going to get dragged into this as well?
New Zealand always tries and does things, and we're always kind of a bit shithouse compared to the rest of the world. So what I hear you saying is this is our January 6th, Chewie, when Trump told them to go off into the Capitol, where it's Brian telling them to go off into the Te Atatū Library. Same
is
thing,
our small little embarrassing equivalent to that, yes.
The other thing, and from knowing these kinds of people and being around these kinds of groups, I know exactly what's happened when they did it. The reason they're all over social media is this was clout in their circle. And then, of course, things happen, and people who may or may not be the orchestrator of this fade away, and all of a sudden they're left holding the bag, and they're like, hang on, we got praise for this action. How can we be in a court now? I don't want anybody to know. So I think you see a cycle of, it's the echo chamber. The echo chamber they're in are like, yeah, good on you. And then as soon as there's a crime, all that, yeah, good on you, all of a sudden they're not around us anymore, and you're just left there by yourself, and you're looking for name suppression. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. And true, I think it's really interesting what you're saying as well about, will there be some kind of connection? Could it be proven that there's some kind of connection between maybe higher ups in the church authorizing, asking for, being a part of this? Or are they so devious that they know that the big fella can't get involved, not God, the other one, because if he does, then he can't have plausible deniability. So interesting to see what happens.
So much of a cult that these guys would rather jump on a grenade than drag Brian into this, because that's what it is. It's a cult.
But like you said, right, there could well be video online. Like I don't know actually, but do I remember correctly or not, Brian Tamaki talking about painting over the Rainbow Story Times as in that was a good thing? Like I'm not going to make that accusation because I can't remember clearly, but if there is footage out there of Brian talking about, them being offered, there could already be a connection there, which doesn't have to involve them actually, saying it was all about him. Maybe.
I mean, it would be certainly good if, and this is something perhaps I'd do myself if I had a bit more time, if some of our media were to look at, Brian Tamaki's sermons in the lead up to what happened. I mean, those are all online. You can find them on Destiny Church social media, and I think you'd really see there. He may not explicitly be saying, go and disrupt this event at this library, but he's going to be talking about pride events and the harm that this is supposedly doing to our society and to children, and there's a connection there, obviously, between what he says in sermons and then what Destiny affiliated groups do.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I was making a bit of a silly joke, but actually drawing the parallel on January 6th to Trump telling them to go down to the capital, fight for your country, that kind of stuff, those sorts of connections, and are they there in this one as well? Yeah, I think that's really interesting, Byron. That's what it'd be. If we only had some journalists left in this country, they hadn't all lost their jobs, someone could be put on that, but I don't think there's the ability to do that anymore.